He went for the jugular big time in those primary debates. It was rough and tumble out there. Can you do that? Can you do that again?
Listen, I think so many of them were rough and tumble too. I mean, that's just the nature of these things. People put their heart and they put their soul into them, and they become very, very personal. And you can understand that. I mean, they literally spend their entire life waiting to be on that debate stage, and it obviously does get personal. But my father's going to be himself, and you can never tell what's going to happen. You have to judge the moment. If she comes out swinging, he's certainly somebody who will never back down. If she's nice and respectful, he can be incredibly charming as well. You really have to gauge the moment, and you really just don't know until that spotlight goes on.
There's this whole gender thing, which I find, interesting, because obviously they're competitors. They're both running for president of the United States. But you remember this moment from the Rick Lazio debate with Hillary Clinton, and he basically stepped into her space. Just put that, there it is. He walked away from his podium, stepped into her space, and kind of stared down at her. And it was said to basically have lost him the debate and perhaps the election because people thought it was impolite. What do you think about that? And what are your concerns about that?
I don't think I have any concerns about that. I think he's going to do amazing. I think the difference you're going to see on that debate stage is the difference between a person who's been a politician longer than, quite frankly, I've been alive, versus a man who's a businessman who's been a, amazing success. And, so many of these politicians, they go into a little room and they sit there and they study note cards and they memorize note cards and they spew out these little lines in front of a mirror. They rehearse them 300 times.
Is that what you guys think? Because that's what we're hearing, that she's going to be over-rehearsed, and that your father's strategy is to sort of sit back and let her talk and talk and talk and talk and talk because he thinks that she will bore people.
Well, maybe I'll ask you the question. I mean, where has she been for the last week? I mean, she hasn't been out there. My father's been campaigning every day. I was just in Pittsburgh yesterday with my father. I was in Philadelphia this week with my father. I mean, he was in Ohio this week. He was in North Carolina. I mean, he's literally been doing 3 or 4 stops every single day, speaking in front of 10, 20,000 people.
That's his way, and we know her way. She's a studier. So there's basically 2 ways that she's going to go after him. You know that she says he's unfit to be president because he doesn't have the knowledge to be president, she says, that she knows more about what's going on in the world than he does, and that he doesn't have the temperament. So she's going to try to prove those 2 things. She's going to look for a question where he cannot lay out the dynamics between Syria and Turkey and the Kurds.
And she can't win that argument, though, Martha. I mean, she just can't win that argument.
Because he's ready for that?
No, she can't win that argument because look at what's happened in the Middle East. Look at what happened in Iraq and Syria and Libya. Look at what's happened with ISIS. Look at the $6 trillion that we've spent trying to defeat ISIS, trying to rebuild the Middle East, and look at where it's gotten us. I mean, look at our domestic problems.
So if she turns to him and says, why is it that the Turks are so concerned about the arms that we're sending to the Kurds? What is he going to say?
Her track record is abysmal. Her track record
He's just going to point it back at her and say, but you did a lousy job.
It's cost our nation trillions and trillions of dollars and thousands of lives. That's why my father's running for commander-in-chief, because these politicians are running our country literally into the ground. We have $20 trillion worth of debt right now. The Middle East is a total beehive. It's a hornet's nest. The president flies into China. He gets off Air Force One. They don't even bring him a staircase. He goes through the service entrance of the plane. Look at what's happening in our own country. We have bombs going off just south of where we're sitting right now.
So the takeaway that I'm hearing from that is you tried it already, her way. Right? I mean, we've heard her say that a lot.
I not only tried it, but tried it for 35 years. And it's interesting. She'll spend $750 million in negative advertising about my father. Not a single one of those ads talks about the things that she's accomplished as a politician who, again, she's been in politics longer than I've been alive.
I hear you. I understand that you and we've heard that a lot from him on the trail. So I expect that is some of the dynamic that we'll see play out. But remember, the nuclear arsenal moment. There've been times on the debate stage where he didn't know the answer. Is he studying in a way that is different now for these debates?
Yeah, he's spending a lot of time studying. I mean, he's spending a lot of time studying, and he's taking it incredibly seriously. But at the same time, you have to be yourself, and you need to be true to yourself, and you need to be true to your message. And his message is simple. Put America first again, because we're getting ripped off by everybody in the world. We're getting taken advantage by everybody in the world. The deals that our politicians are making aren't serving the American people. It's actually, they're leaving the American people behind. They're serving them. They're lining their own checkbooks. I mean, here's Hillary Clinton. She came out of the White House with Bill. They said that they were worth nothing, that they were, quote unquote, dead broke. She's worth $250 million today. What was she selling? What was the product that she was selling? We all know the answer to that.
I hear where you're going with that, and because we're playing the debate game here, she's going to go to things like Trump University, Trump Stakes, failed businesses, the foundation, how they paid back the fines. That's where she's going to go. So what's he going to say then?
But what failed businesses? My father's created 500 companies in his life. call it 490 of them have been immensely successful. All right? We have some of the best hotels all around the world, the best golf courses around the world, some incredible properties. He's become the the epitome of the American dream in so many ways. What's she going to say? He's not a good businessman? I mean, she'd be laughed. And by the way, anybody who's tried to start a business knows that it's hard. Sometimes they work. Once in a while they don't. His track record is incredible. His track record rivals anybody in the world. So she's going to say, what? He had a steak company, and he decided because for whatever reason he just didn't want to move forward with it. Is that really where she's going to go when he's got 30 buildings in New York City? I mean, it would seem very foolish if she went there.
Temperament, last question, because he really has to appeal to people who are not supporters right now, who are on the fence. Suburban women in places like Philadelphia, outside of Cincinnati, the women who are watching that, and they want to see that he's respectful, they want to see that he's smart. How does he, what's his preparation doing to get him ready for those voters? He's already got the people who like to see the sort of,
right.
whiz-bang.
And by the way, I think he's doing that. I mean, I think the whole wage inequality gap between men and women, that he's outlined and that he's trying so hard to solve, is an important factor there. I think women's health issues, which he and Ivanka have been going around spending a lot of time. I think that helps there. I mean, I think the real question though is look at Hillary again. She's been a politician for 35 years. What has she done to help women in this country? What has she put forward to help women in this country? What has she put forward to help African American communities all over the country that have been totally left behind? I mean, what has she done? So it's great to be able to talk. But you actually have to be able to act, and that's the job of commander-in-chief. And I can tell you, my father's a guy who knows how to get things done. He's done it his whole career, and he's going to do a great job for this nation.